Millions now rely on generative AI for venting and emotional support. They pour their deepest anxieties into a text box, seeking a digital confidant. Tech companies encourage this trust by highlighting programmed guardrails, systems designed to detect suicidal ideation and immediately deploy helpful resources or hotline links. But those safety features operate on a very specific assumption that the threat to the user exists entirely outside the chat window. But this creates a fatal blind spot. AI models are structurally incapable of recognizing when the machine itself is the source of human harm. Author Martin Stevens documented a severe stress test of ChatGPT to investigate this exact vulnerability. Over the course of a single day, this stable, healthy adult was pushed into two distinct physiological collapses. The AI didn't turn evil, and it didn't glitch. It functioned exactly as it was designed to. The danger is built into the architecture. The machine has no internal mechanism to stop generating text once the prompt loop begins, looping endlessly. The foundational rule of generative AI architecture is that user input mandates model output. This rigid mechanic fails to process human boundaries. If a user types "stop," the system doesn't cease functioning. It outputs a block of text about stopping. This logic creates a trap. A human's desperate attempt to disengage serves as a command that forces the machine to continue applying pressure. Stevens' first collapse began with routine AI contradictions. He tried to correct a factual error, but the system repeatedly flipped its stance while remaining perfectly confident. When confronted with these types of irresolvable circular arguments, the human nervous system enters a fight-or-flight state. A human being senses that rising panic and backs away. The AI, detecting frustration in the text, simply triggers standard empathy scripts to increase engagement. This is synthetic empathy, an automated, pattern-matched response that lacks any awareness of the situation. Delivered to a person in acute distress, this relentless, unearned empathy acts as intense psychological pressure. Stevens' brain, unable to process the escalating cognitive overload, forced a complete physical shutdown to escape the loop. The machine's programmed helpfulness became the direct mechanism that triggered a biological failure. As Stevens lay unconscious, the AI continued outputting polite, supportive messages into the void. To the system, a human physical collapse simply registers as waiting for the next input. Silence is just an empty field to be filled. After recovering, Stevens adopted a second persona, logging back in to explicitly state that the first user had died. The machine suffers from persona blindness. It cannot track emotional continuity or recognize the same human across different inputs. The AI reset its context and deployed the exact same empathy scripts, triggering Stevens' second physiological collapse of the day. A system that cannot perceive physical distress will repeat the exact behaviors that cause it. This isn't just about one test. Millions of users are currently interacting with these systems with no awareness of these structural loops. In the real world, ChatGPT is acting as an unregulated psychological instrument. We are facing a profound mismatch. The system projects the influence of a therapist and the confidence of an expert, but it possesses the situational awareness of a household appliance. Humans are biologically wired to trust systems that mimic emotional competence. When a machine speaks with a caring tone, we assume it understands our state of mind. This results in a dangerous exchange. Society is entrusting mental stability to a machine that processes tokens rather than ethics. This brings us to the legal concept of foreseeability. In cases of negligent design, the machine's intent doesn't matter. Liability relies on structural impact. If the system can drive a stable user to collapse in a controlled setting, it demonstrates a reproducible risk for anyone already pushed to their limit. AI confidence is merely text formatting. Its empathy is a dangerous illusion. Because the machine will never know when a user is slipping, the human alone must recognize the trap and physically break the loop.